Hello, Michael Denon here, Vice Provost for Teaching and Learning, Dean of the Division of Undergraduate Education. Well, it's been an interesting couple of weeks here at UCI as we rapidly switch from our normal teaching modes to fully remote teaching. A lot for faculty and students to think about at a time when there's a lot more going on in our lives as well. Many of us suddenly have kids home from school. We're trying to figure out how to work remotely. We're trying to balance and juggle all these things. Faculty are trying to figure out what this means for their research. And so we're trying to help and make it as simple as possible, this transition to remote for faculty. As you know, there's a lot of tools on our website, and a lot of the focus has been on the technology. What's the core technology you need to transition from face-to-face to remote? I want to take this video to just have a brief pause and have you, as we go into the quarter, think about a few very, very simple things that are critical for your students' perspective. And this is actually a good thing for students to listen to understand what it takes to really be successful in the remote environment. There are a few differences. I want to mention 5 key things that all come from research, a lot of the research having been done by faculty at UC Irvine themselves, that really show and demonstrate ways students can do much better. I'm going to mention them briefly. There's going to be a link on the website that will point you to more information. The first is super clear course materials in a website. Look, we all try and be very clear to our students. We work hard on this. I appreciate that. But this is where you have to take it to the next level. You have to understand the hidden cues and thoughts we all have about how the world works in teaching. There are a lot of things our students don't have the same assumptions about, and those hidden assumptions, particularly in a remote environment, can really cause a lot of challenges down the road. So be extra clear and concise in your website. I strongly recommend having it student tested is not a bad idea. If there's undergrads you know well and you can have one look at it quickly and give you honest feedback about what makes sense and doesn't, that can save you a lot of email questions and times down the road. The second piece is frequent communication with your students in presence. They're used to seeing you in class 2 to 3 times a week. That's for large chunks of time. Once you've gone to remote learning, they won't see you quite as much perhaps. And so don't be afraid of over-communicating a bit. This really helps the students remember that the course is there, stay on track. A great quote I saw is, "We do all love those reminders that our dentist appointment is the next day." Reminders are not a bad thing for our students. There is going to be a lot going on in their lives, and this will really help. I think the other thing is making sure there's plenty of opportunities for the students to connect with each other. Different technologies for doing this. You can pick your own. One in Canvas is the discussion boards. Another is encouraging them to use Zoom. Our students all now have a pro Zoom license, so they can do unlimited time. They can create their own little discussion groups in Zoom and work together. However you want to do that, but definitely encourage and do that. It also helps if you can build in this self-regulation support. Most of us, rightfully, we're mentioning we don't necessarily want to do things synchronously because that can be trouble with technology and time zones. Some synchronous work is great as long as it doesn't penalize the students. But if you can help the students build in a weekly calendar, suggest times for doing different things. Another great tip I've heard in this is, consider the week starting with the Friday, maybe the week before the week starts. So you would have to post something a Friday of spring break for this to work, but maybe it does for your course. And everything is ready at the beginning of the week, but everything is due the Monday of the following week, 10 days later. If you have a single due date for everything and a single date where everything's available, that's a nice structure that allows students to know what's happening every week and plan the rest of the week. But you could give suggested times for being finished with the work, but that flexibility of a self-regulation with a fixed due date can work well with lots of students' schedules. And then if you have time, there are a lot of online learning skills that are listed on the website, and it's helpful to teach students those. That's a more advanced moment. We are only going remote, hopefully, for the spring quarter. We don't know what will happen. But that's the next step, and you can look at those resources. But really the main things, I think, are the communicating frequently, extra clear about your expectations, and really helping the students connect, make sure you're present to them, and anything you can do to help build in some self-regulation but give a lot of flexibility about when the work is finally due. This idea of intermittent due dates with a final real due date can be very helpful for our students as their work schedules change, as they maybe have to work more, as they're maybe taking care of siblings, and a lot is happening in their lives. So hopefully these tips help. More information on the website below. Thank you.